These are some of the really interesting medical treatments, technology that was built to further, for people to get well. Isn't that right?
That's right. That's right. These are the appliances. Some were made by the people who got readings, and Casey helped them bring their appliances to work, except for the oroscope and things like that that still need a little tweaking.
Okay, and these little...
The doctor files. We have no peeking at the names, but we have many people in the original hospital that were helped, and we have individual files on them.
So these are the doctors who actually worked with Casey,
Yes.
who worked with the readings. Wonderful, a very important resource.
Mm-hmm.
I see oversized materials.
Oversized material, both newsprint and pictures.
Oh, and look at this. This really gives you an idea of how many photographs we have. This whole wall is photographs. There must be 10,000 or more photographs.
Oh, at least. I'm not beginning to count.
Right, and we're going to look at some of those too.
We're going to look at some of those.
Okay, good. The Casey archive has at least 10,000 or more photographs. What makes the photo collection so significant is simply because we have documentation in photographs going right back to the very beginning, even before Edgar Casey was born, carrying on through his life. As you know, he was a photographer for much of his career. So, we not only have photos taken of Edgar and Edgar's friends and family, but we have his art photos. We have photos of so many others. It's a wonderful documentation. I'm just going to pick out a few to show you. This one I love in particular because this was taken in front of the Beverly School. Edgar only went to school to 8th grade, but this was one of those classes, and they're all in front of the Beverly School. You can notice Edgar up here in one of the corners. You can immediately identify him because of his ears, very, very pronounced ears. And all of the people in this photo are either Caseys or Majors, because those were the only two families that lived in Beverly, and you were either Casey or a Major, or both. You had a mother and a father because they intermarried. So many great photos. I like. Let's see. Oh yeah, this is a good one. I love this one. This is an early photo of Edgar, and what makes this photo so cool, I think, is seeing him with a mustache. You don't often get to see Edgar in a mustache. And of course you have his high collar and his tie. He always removed his tie and collar when he went to give a reading because it was so uncomfortable. Wonderful photos. Here, this is an early photo of Gertrude. So many of the images of Gertrude are after she got tuberculosis, and she looks so worn and tired in them, but it's delightful to see a young Gertrude who is just so stunning. She was a very, very beautiful woman. What else do we have here? This is the wedding picture. Edgar's in a bowler hat, and there's Gertrude just beginning their lives. These are photos from what's called the Pilot Rock series. I love them in particular. Pilot Rock was one of the places where young people went to go on dates. And this is a series that was taken at a picnic to Pilot Rock. And this would have been when Edgar and Gertrude were first dating, even before their engagement. I like this one in particular because you notice in the sort of lower left-hand corner a chaperone. She's always dressed in black, and she's a grandmother of that generation, and so she was always chaperoning the young people out on the date, so that there was no hanky-panky or that kind of thing. you know, we have a whole lot to look at, but I particularly want you to show us one of the art photos. You know, Casey was a very talented photographer, and he actually won awards as a photographer. This is from a series of art photos which would have been used in advertising. This photo I like in particular. It's not only a beautiful photo, and Casey has framed this photo so nicely, but it's in color. And you know, when Casey was taking these photos, it was only black and white. So it was Gertrude who actually hand colored this photo. And this, you know, you see it looks like a Persian carpet. Was in black and white, and she hand colored each of the little frames in there and the flowers. Just quite beautiful, stunning. I've asked Laura to pull 470-7, Charles Dillman, because he was the first patient at the Casey Hospital. You'll notice right here on the top 470. 470 was the number that was assigned to Charles Dillman. So all of Charles Dillman's readings would be in this file. He had several. First reading was back in 1923. The reading I want to look at is right here, 470-7. It was conducted right here upstairs. Here we are. It was conducted February the 7th, 1929. Present in the room when the reading was given, we have Edgar Casey, conductor Gladys. Conductor was Gertrude Casey. The stenographer was Gladys Davis. Edgar's father, Leslie Casey, was there when the reading was being given. And so here we have a text of the actual reading. It was given at 11:50 a.m. It's a standard opening. Yes, we have the body here. This we have had before, meaning he had had other readings. Now we find there are different conditions as affect the physical forces of the body. Charles Dillman, as we learn, had a terrible sinus condition, but he had such faith in the Casey readings that he arrived at the Casey Hospital, as this material tells us, with his golf clubs. I love it. He was so sure he was going to get well, and get well he did. So, you know, we not only have the reading itself, we have the documentary supporting material, the letter requesting the reading, various affidavits, testimonials, and in this case, and I just love this, in this case, we also have an interview that was conducted with Dillman. This interview is conducted, many, many years later, September 21st, 1980, in Houston. This shows the follow-up research, work that was done with this. Charles Dillman lived to be in his 90s. As, that attests alone, the help that these readings gave this man. And so here's an entire interview of his experience with Casey, getting readings up here at the hospital, and, a letter to Hugh Lynn Casey, Edgar Casey's son. We have other supporting material, too. You want to show us? Show us this? What this does is it paints the larger picture of this particular reading, because we not only have an interview with Charles Dillman, but, here we have hospitals, Casey Hospital stationery, photographs of the front and the back. We have Charles Dillman's physician, Thomas House. Look at this. We even have a photo of one of the rooms in the Casey Hospital in which he had stayed. Very, very complete. It's just wonderful. That's why you need all of the different types of material in this vault, because it all helps, it all builds to understand the importance of these readings. Most people, almost everywhere, think of Edgar Cayce as the sleeping prophet, psychic diagnostician, but he also invented a card game, and a very popular card game. It's called Pit. This looks like an original deck. And in 1903, he devised this game as entertainment for his Bible students. He would give a Bible lecture, talk on the scriptures, and then they would all gather in the Cayce parlor and play Pit. And so he had these, he handmade the first deck, and he actually sold the idea to Parker Brothers. It's a very popular game, very much like Monopoly. And as I understand it, Edgar developed this game simply because nobody wanted to play other games with him because he could read their mind. Pit is such a wild game. It involves people and actions and bells ringing, all kinds of wonderful stuff. It's based on the Chicago Commodities Exchange, so that each suit represents a different commodity, and traders, sitting around a table are trading these commodities. Like here's hops, for instance, corn, just delightful, and it's such a treasure having an original Pit game. We've got to be very gentle, careful with it, and the original instructions for the Pit game. Very exciting.